2025 Operation Rising Lion. Israel's unprecedented strike on Iran. On a calm summer night in June 2025, something unexpected exploded across the skies of Iran. Dozens of Israeli fighter jets pierced through radar defenses and launched a wave of high-precision strikes deep inside Iranian territory. Tehran didn't see it coming. Isfahan, the heart of Iran's nuclear development, was hit before commanders could even react. This wasn't just a mission, it was a bold statement from Israel to the world. Enough is enough. Operation Rising Lion wasn't just about bombs and jets. It was about timing, message, and shock. After years of silent cyber wars, secret attacks, and rising nuclear fears, Israel launched a strike so sudden and exact that it stunned not only Iran, but also every major power watching from the sidelines. What pushed Israel to finally act? How did they manage to pull off something so large, so fast, and so clean? And what comes next for a region already on edge? Tensions between Israel and Iran have never truly cooled, but by early 2025 they reached a boiling point. Iran's nuclear program had resumed at full speed, with enriched uranium levels surpassing what international watchdogs considered safe. The diplomatic window appeared to slam shut, and with each passing month, Tel Aviv grew more convinced that Tehran was inches away from building a nuclear weapon. Add to that an increased Iranian presence in Syria and Lebanon, arming Hezbollah with precision-guided missiles capable of hitting deep into Israeli territory. Israeli intelligence services, Mossad and Amman, painted a grim picture of what the next conflict would look like. Iran was not just preparing to retaliate, it was preparing to strike first. This was the final straw. After failed talks in Europe and ignored red lines, Israel concluded that waiting was more dangerous than striking. Thus, the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu approved a surgical, high-impact mission to cripple Iran's nuclear capability. Operation Rising Lion. Planning the impossible. Operation Rising Lion wasn't dreamed up overnight. It was years in the making. Contingency plans updated annually, rehearsed meticulously, and kept under the highest classification. Israeli generals knew they had only one shot, and failure was not an option. What made it so difficult? Geography and politics. To reach Iranian targets, Israeli jets would need to fly more than 1,000 miles through hostile or denied airspace. Iran's air defense systems, especially around key nuclear sites like Natanz and Fordow, were some of the most heavily defended in the world. Then there was the risk of international fallout. A single misstep could drag the entire region into war. So Israel leaned into stealth, speed, and deception. Satellite images showed nothing unusual, but inside underground air bases, F-35I Adir jets were being armed with bunker-busting bombs. Electronic warfare units were deployed, cyber teams began quietly infiltrating Iranian communication lines, and diplomats made last-ditch attempts to defuse the coming storm. The strike begins. At 2:45 a.m. local time on 13 June 2025, Operation Rising Lion was unleashed. A formation of Israeli F-35Is flying ultra-low and in complete radio silence crossed into Iranian airspace. Simultaneously, Israeli drones and decoy aircraft created radar chaos across Iran's skies. Within seconds, Iranian air defense systems began lighting up, but many were already being jammed or disabled by cyber attack. The main targets: Natanz, Fordo, and the Arak heavy water reactor. Specialized bunker-busting bombs, tailored for deeply buried targets, struck with surgical accuracy. Satellite images the next day showed gaping holes where reinforced structures once stood. Fires raged for hours as emergency crews scrambled, but the damage was done. Meanwhile, Israeli naval units launched long-range missiles from submarines in the Arabian Sea, targeting IRGC communication hubs and radar installations. The entire mission lasted less than 50 minutes, and before Iranian command could fully respond, the Israeli jets were already on their way home. Is Iran's response and the global shock? Iran's initial reaction was disbelief. State media downplayed the damage, but independent footage told another story. Satellite photos leaked to the public showed destruction at key sites. Iran's supreme leader vowed retaliation, but inside Tehran, military leaders scrambled to assess what was left of their nuclear infrastructure. Across the world, reactions were swift. The United States called for restraint, but acknowledged Israel's right to defend itself. Russia condemned the strike, warning of regional destabilization. China urged both sides to de-escalate. Meanwhile, Arab nations, though publicly silent, were privately relieved that Israel had acted before Iran became untouchable. Markets reacted immediately. Oil prices spiked, gold surged. Global news was dominated by one phrase: Operation Rising Lion. Diplomats scrambled, analysts speculated, but one truth was clear. Israel had delivered a masterstroke: the cyberfront and psychological warfare. One of the most overlooked yet critical components of Operation Rising Lion was cyber warfare. Hours before the airstrikes, Israel launched a massive cyber offensive, targeting Iran's communication grids, radar networks, and command and control systems. Entire regions of Iran experienced blackouts, or communication blackouts, just as the jets crossed the border. This digital blitz paralyzed Iranian defense responses. It wasn't just about bombs, it was about breaking their eyes and ears. Iranian radar operators saw ghosts. Missile batteries failed to fire. Emergency lines went dead. It was a modern-day version of blitzkrieg, only this time, bytes moved faster than bullets. The psychological impact was equally devastating. Iran had long claimed invincibility through layered defense. That illusion shattered. Confidence within the IRGC wavered and public morale dipped. Iran suddenly found itself vulnerable, not from within, but from above, and online. What Operation Rising Lion achieved. On the surface, Operation Rising Lion's goal was to delay or destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, and by all accounts, it succeeded. Experts estimated that Iran's nuclear timeline was set back by at least 3 to 5 years. Enrichment facilities were gone, critical scientists either killed, wounded, or forced into hiding. But the operation achieved much more than that. It sent a chilling message to Israel's enemies: even the most fortified bunkers aren't safe. It also restored Israel's deterrence power at a time when many questioned its military edge. Rising Lion was a proof of concept that Israel could strike hard, deep, and with precision anytime it deemed necessary. For the broader Middle East, it rebalanced the playing field. Gulf states that had quietly feared Iran's growing power found reassurance in Israel's boldness. And NATO allies, while diplomatically cautious, knew they had just witnessed one of the most effective air operations in the 21st century. The fallout and what comes next. Of course, the story doesn't end with a successful strike. In the weeks that followed, Iran launched a limited response rocket attacks on Israeli positions in the Golan Heights, cyber strikes on Israeli infrastructure, and threats through its proxies. But none matched the scale or impact of Operation Rising Lion. In Israel, public support for the mission soared. Netanyahu's government framed it as a necessary evil, a strike that prevented a nuclear nightmare. However, critics warned that the calm may be temporary. Iran would rebuild. Retaliation, even if delayed, was inevitable. Globally, Rising Lion reignited debates about preemptive warfare. Was it legal? Was it justified? Was it the only option left? No matter where you stood, one fact remained: the world had changed overnight. And the next phase of the Iran-Israel conflict would no longer be fought in the shadows. It was now fully out in the open. Operation Rising Lion will be remembered not just for its precision or daring, but for what it represented: the redefinition of deterrence in an era of shadow wars and nuclear brinkmanship. It was bold, risky, and brutally effective. Israel didn't just launch a mission, it launched a message: that when the red lines are crossed, silence is not an option. And while the long-term consequences are still unfolding, one thing is certain: the lion didn't just rise, it roared. What do you think? Was Israel's strike necessary, or did it push the region closer to all-out war? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you found this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful military stories and real-world analysis.